In a minute, I'm going to lift my camera up and I'm going to show you what I can see. What I can see has to be one of the best kept secrets in the Peak District. One of the most hidden and unvisited and unknown spots in the Peak District. And it's incredible. Have a look. Good morning. It's actually an okay day so far. There is some sunshine, it's quite hot, but there's also a lot of cloud. So I just have to see what happens. I'm somewhere I've not walked before, and this is another explore video. Now, whilst I've not walked this area, it is somewhere that gets walked. It's quite close to Glossop. I think people in Glossop can probably get out to this area from their doorsteps. And there's also a trig point, which I've not been to, but you know, people do bag trig points. So it's an area that does get some footfall, but for me, it's brand new. And I'm not entirely sure where I'm going to look, where I'm going to walk, but I've got a few things, a few potentials, a few possibilities that I want to kind of check out if I can. And I have a fairly good idea that even people who know this area and who walk this area may not have been to all of the places that I'm going to be potentially checking out on today's walk. So it should be a good one. I'm really happy to be here. Today I am on Chunal Moor, currently on Chunal Moor. I parked at a lay-by. I've driven past many times but never parked there before. It's a lay-by that's kind of between Little Hayfield and Glossop. I wasn't sure whether you could actually get onto the moors from that lay-by, but you can. I am drenched in sweat. I'm not used to warm weather. This is Harry Hut Trig Point. My first time to bag it. Pretty great views. That's down towards Glossop. Got Clough over there. Just see a bit of a Kinder Scout over there. I'm not sure why this is called Harry's Hut or Harry Hut Trig Point. Presumably there was a hut or shooting cabin or shepherd's hut here at some point. There's nothing on the old maps though. Not that the old maps go back that far. I have put together kind of a provisional walking route for today, although it's really there as a guide. I will deviate from it if I find something interesting. These paths are just one massive peat bog. That's the direction I've just come from, and this very muddy track that I was following has now joined this nice paved track which goes over Burnt Hill. I'm going to follow this for a very brief bit and then I'll go off piste. Whilst I've not walked this particular bit of moorland, I have walked very close by. I've walked just over there, which is Laygates Head Moor. There's a high point there called the Knot, which I went to just because it sounded intriguing and it wasn't on any path, so I thought I'll go and check that out. There's also a contemporary shooting cabin, so a pretty big shooting cabin that's still in use. You can't get inside it, it's all locked up, and it's still being used for the purpose of grouse shooting all over there. And we have similar kind of things over here which I'll be checking out today. As I say, people do come here, as you can tell by the paved path, but some of the places I'll be going to today I don't think many people go to. There's a couple of cloughs with waterfalls that I want to have a look at, and yeah, we'll just see what we can see. There's a mountain hare over there. Don't think I was quite quick enough to catch it. This is very impressive landscape, very dramatic. Bleak low over there in the distance. I'm following this little clough down. It doesn't have a name on the map, but it joins up with some bigger cloughs. There's supposed to be a waterfall along here, and then another waterfall a bit beyond that, where a number of different cloughs join together. This isn't the waterfall that I was looking for. It's just slightly above it. This one's not marked on the map. It's very pretty. This is another little fairy glen, I think. Look at this, this is magical. So I can tell you, not many people come here. It's very overgrown. This is a genuinely magical spot. It's an unnamed waterfall on an unnamed clough. It's very overgrown and not that easy to get to, but well worth clambering down to get to. What I had to do is I had to walk past it, above it. I could hear it but couldn't see it, and then when I was past it I was able to get down and then walk along back up to get to it. There's one of these which I've seen a lot of These normally have a trap on them, but this doesn't have a trap on it. So that's probably been there undisturbed for some time as well. Right, so I'm going to head on, keep going. There are more waterfalls ahead. Just down there is the waterfall I've just visited. The next waterfall that's marked on the map and that I want to check out is actually over there on that clough there somewhere. It's really not far away, but getting there is not going to be easy or straightforward. Yeah, this might take a bit of time. I hope it's worth it. That may look like grass or moss. It's pretty deep. These are starting to become quite a common sight on my walks in this area. I mean, it makes more sense here than it did on last week's walk. There are sheep grazing this moorland. Where I want to go is over there. I'm actually heading away from it because getting to it directly is a bit of a nightmare. Even getting to it indirectly is proving to be a bit of a nightmare. I'm going to find the best trail I can to at least get me down into the Clough, and from there I can decide whether or not I can easily get up to the waterfall, whether it's going to be worth getting up to the waterfall. It may well not be worth the effort. There's a house amongst those trees. So walking away from the side of the Clough actually worked quite well. I've made quite a bit of good progress on fairly easy ground, and I can actually just see the top of a waterfall over there. That may be where I'm headed for, but first I need to figure out whether I can actually get there and whether it's going to be worth it. Getting a bit more of it coming to view now, and it's starting to look like it's a decent waterfall. I'm not sure how clearly that's showing, but as I get lower I'm getting a little bit more of the waterfall, and it does look pretty impressive from a distance. Right, well, this Clough directly below me is Clough. Where that waterfall's coming down is Clough, and then there's another Clough that goes that way as well. I guess I'm gonna go down, although it's going to be a steep climb back up again. This is the bottom of the unnamed Clough that I've been following. It's the same Clough where I found that small fairy waterfall and that other little pretty waterfall. So there's probably quite a few falls on here which are not marked on the map, and these are not marked on the map. So the waterfall we saw from a distance is now out of sight, but it's just over there. But before I get there, before I get too far, I think I'm going to stop and have some lunch. Just had my lunch, sat there, and now I'm going to go up Clough just a little bit until the other two cloughs join and get a good look at that waterfall. There's no evidence that people come here, at least not very often. Just sheep. It's taken me a little bit longer than expected to get up here. There's no path at all. Occasionally there's a little bit of sheep's trot to follow. But people certainly do not come here. Look at this. It's pretty cool. In a minute, I'm going to lift my camera up and I'm going to show you what I can see. What I can see has to be one of the best kept secrets in the Peak District. One of the most hidden and unvisited and unknown spots in the Peak District. And it's incredible. Have a look. That's got to be one of the tallest waterfalls in the Peak District. This is just incredible. It has to be seen to be believed. You have to be here. The footage isn't doing justice to it. This is Blackstone Delph Clough. But this is where it's happening. This is Fair Varge Clough, I believe. I'll double check that. And then this is Bray Clough. So the two cloughs join together and go into Bray Clough. No evidence that anyone ever comes here. But that waterfall there, so it is in, say, 3 parts. One, 2, 3. But the middle bit is huge. It's got to be one of the highest single drop waterfalls in the Peak District. So I'm standing now right at the very top of Bray Clough, where these other two cloughs join together. Look at that view. This is the very bottom part of the Fair Varge Clough waterfall, and I'm coming up to the middle section, and by far the most impressive section. And as you get closer, you can see it's actually even bigger than you first think. So there is another section above which you can't see from here. This is without doubt one of the best kept secrets in the Peak District. So I've just had to angle the camera upwards and distort the perspective in order to fit the whole waterfall in. Not that this is the whole waterfall, this is just the middle section. It's huge. I just can't get over this. I mean, it's marked on the map, people know it's here, but not many people. And not many people have visited. Look at those views. I'm going to climb up here and get better views of the very top section. That's as best a view I can get of the very top section. I did try climbing up there, but where I felt safe, I couldn't see it. That heather and outcrop was in the way of the top section, so I've come back down. But I think I'm going to call it there. I now need to retrace my steps all the way back to where I was on that unknown Clough, that unnamed Clough, joining into Bray Clough where I came down. That's the best I can see of the very top. Okay, I'm back at the point where I had my lunch. That Clough there is the unnamed Clough that I followed down to get here, more or less. Well, I've double checked the route that I plotted, and actually there is a path that runs along the top of Bray Clough, and I'd plotted to follow that path, so I can see a trail going quite steeply up the side there. I think it might just be a sheep trod, but I'm going to try and get up to that path. If you decide to come and check out that waterfall yourself, and you decide to take the route that I've taken today, be warned, you've got a very steep descent and then ascent up the sides of Bray Clough. No path. No path that is until you get to the top, where there's a very welcome track. Look at that for a view. That's where I've just come from. Now I'm going this way. Sometimes when you're walking, you've got a planned route, but you maybe visit something incredible, see something incredible, and then you think, that's it now, I'm done with this walk. This walk's been great, I don't really want to go any further. But you still got a few miles to get back to the car, and that just feels like an ordeal. That's kind of where I am right now. Don't get me wrong, I am enjoying this, but I feel that there's almost too much for one walk. I am going to change my plan route a little bit to cut out a little bit that I had got planned. I was going to just go over there. Those are the worm stones. So I was going to go down past the worm stones and then back up again just to have a look at them. But I think I'll skip that. I've seen them from over here. I've seen them from a distance. And it's one of the better known features here. That building is intriguing. When I was researching this walk, I did find a couple of interesting places on the periphery of the route, which I didn't think I'd be able to incorporate in. And I think that might be one of them. And I've forgotten the name, let me just check. If it is the place I think it is, it's called Wood's Cabin. And it doesn't look like a cabin, it looks like a full-on house. It is on private land, so you can't actually get to it. That's the view towards the Wormstones. The next point of interest in the walk is coming up. So here we go. Shooting cabin. Doesn't look overly old. It's in pretty good condition. It's still in use. It's all locked up. Mind you, from those cobwebs, doesn't look like it gets a great deal of usage. The map does show a spring here, more or less here, a little bit. To be exact, it's up there somewhere. But it was very common for shooting cabins to be built near to springs for obvious reasons. I don't know if you can make it out on the video, but over there is the Harry Hut Trig point. So I'm making my way back there via a different route. Only a little bit more of uphill left, and then I'm at the Trig point. At least there is a little bit of a breeze up here to keep me cool. Been some very steep climbs today. Back at Harry Hut. You know what? I've not seen a single person all day. Not a single person. It is a Wednesday, but even so, this path here leads down to, well, goes along the side of the Clough where the Wormstones are. Coming towards the ends now. You can probably make out the cars going past. I'm parked in the lay-by just up ahead. I thoroughly enjoyed that walk. The waterfalls were incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I really don't think anyone knows, or almost no one knows, about that huge waterfall, which I reckon is probably the second highest waterfall in the Peak District after Kinder Downfall. It's got to be. And I don't think anyone knows about it. When I get home, I'm gonna Google it, have a look on YouTube, see if there is anything. There may be, but I've certainly not heard of it before. There's no paths around there, and there's no sign of people. There's no evidence that people go there. This area was well worth coming to. I think it's possibly worth another visit. There's certainly things I want to check out, but whether I can make it work as a walk, I don't know. I need to look at the map and figure out how that would look. But yeah, it's a fantastic area, some incredible sights. Brilliant. Hope you enjoyed it.